Number 1. Mirror their rhythm. Imagine standing in a forest, the wind brushing the trees in perfect time with your breath. This is how mirroring works. Not just the body, but the tone, the pace, the silence between words. Match someone's rhythm, subtly, slowly, and they begin to feel safe. They begin to feel seen. Their subconscious leans in without knowing why. It's not manipulation, it's resonance. Like two strings on opposite ends of a piano vibrating in harmony. When their tempo becomes your tempo, their mind starts to believe you belong, that you understand. And once someone feels understood, the door to influence gently creaks open. Number 2. The pause that traps. Not all power comes from speaking. Sometimes, it blooms in silence. When someone expects a reaction, and you offer stillness instead, something inside them starts to scramble. A pause after a question. A pause before a reply. It feels like space, but it's pressure. Their thoughts fill the silence, not yours. They explain more, reveal more, bend toward you just to break the tension. That empty space becomes a mirror to their mind, and they start to reveal secrets they never planned to say. Stillness is not absence. It's a trap disguised as grace. It makes them chase your approval. Number 3. The false choice illusion. Imagine standing at a crossroads, believing you must choose left or right, never realizing there was always a third path hidden behind you. This is how the illusion of choice works. Offer two options, both leading where you want them to go. Would you rather talk now or after coffee? Do you want to lead or follow my lead? It feels like freedom, but it's control wearing a kind smile. The human brain relaxes when it feels like it's choosing. But not all choices are real. And when people feel in control, they rarely look for the strings pulling them. Number 4. Compliment their shadow. Most praise is predictable. You're smart. You're kind. But deeper influence lies in noticing what they hide. Compliment their darkness. Admire what they think is ugly. The ruthless part, the chaotic part, the hunger they conceal. Say you see it and you don't flinch. Suddenly, you've touched a place no one else dares to look. You've told them their worst isn't unlovable, it's fascinating. And in that moment, they bond with you through their shadow. Because we all want someone who doesn't just accept us. We crave someone who worships the parts we're ashamed of. That kind of praise enslaves hearts. Number 5. The whispering echo. When you repeat their words, just a few, softly, they feel heard. But more than that, they feel understood. Not in the way a friend might nod. In the way a forest might echo your cry back to you. When someone says, "I'm just so tired," and you reply, "So tired," you've entered their wavelength. Not with advice. Not with questions. Just with reflection. It feels like magic. It feels like kinship. And once someone believes you reflect them perfectly, they stop guarding their truth. The echo becomes trust. And trust becomes surrender. All from a single mirrored phrase, dropped gently. Number 6. Reward the reveal. Everyone is hiding something. When they show you even a sliver of it, your reaction matters more than you think. A smile. A softened breath. A whisper like, "Thank you for telling me." That moment becomes a reward. The brain lights up. Vulnerability becomes pleasurable. And like a dog learning a trick, they do it again. More truth. More cracks in the mask. More secrets spilled. You didn't pry, you made it safe. And safety is addictive. Especially for the wounded. Especially for the guarded. Show them that honesty doesn't just survive around you. It thrives. And they'll bleed their soul at your feet. Number 7. Frame the future. The mind clings to stories. If you speak about the future as if it's already unfolding, the brain begins to believe. Say things like, "When you're finally at peace," or "after you realize how powerful you are," and their subconscious begins mapping it out. Not because it's true, but because it's painted vividly. You gave them a prophecy disguised as casual speech. And if you do it softly, slowly, their mind never argues. It listens. It imagines. And imagination becomes prophecy. The trick is not to convince. The trick is to describe. With gentleness. With certainty. Like it's already written. Number 8. Disarm with the flaw. Perfection repels, but a well-placed flaw invites connection. Admit a small mistake. Share an insecurity. Speak it first before they can weaponize it. It disarms them. Suddenly, you're not a threat, you're real. And when they feel your humanity, they soften. It's the paradox of power. Vulnerability builds control. Not by force, but by trust. Because when you say, I mess this up sometimes, their walls lower. They nod. They breathe. And now your next words don't feel like manipulation. They feel like guidance. The flaw isn't weakness. It's bait. And the moment they bite, they bind themselves to your honesty. Number 9. Touch the scar. Not with your hand, but your words. Mention something small they once revealed. A moment. A wound. Something they thought you'd forget. Bring it back gently. Not to reopen, but to remind them you were listening. And not just to the surface, but the fracture beneath it. The world moves too fast. Most people forget what hurts others. But if you remember, quietly, softly, you become rare. You become safe. And safety, to the broken, is sacred. Once they believe you remember their pain, they follow your voice through fire. Not because you healed them, but because you didn't run from their ruin. Number 10. Delay the satisfaction. We crave closure. We beg for completion. So when you leave a sentence unfinished, a story half told, an answer suspended in the air, the mind keeps listening. It leans in. It reaches. Delay the end. Make them wait. Not to frustrate, but to lure. This is how tension becomes glue. Each moment of anticipation wraps around their curiosity. And when you finally resolve it, after just enough silence, it lands deeper. It satisfies more. Because pleasure delayed is pleasure intensified. And when you control the timing of relief, you become the puppet master of their attention. All with one missing beat. Number 11. Agree. Then pivot. When someone argues, don't resist. Nod. Agree with part of it. Say, you're right, then gently shift. You're right to feel that way, and maybe there's another side. The brain relaxes when it feels affirmed. Its guard drops. And in that moment of soft acceptance, you slip in the seed of a new thought. Not by pushing, but by gliding. This is the dance of influence, agreement as misdirection. You give them what they want, only to guide them where they never meant to go. Agreement is not surrender. It's the velvet glove. And the pivot is the unseen blade beneath. Number 12. Ask the invisible question. Not every question wears a question mark. Some hide inside statements. I wonder what would have happened if you stayed. Or, strange how you always choose silence when you're afraid. These are questions wrapped in shadows. They don't demand answers. They plant doubt. They stir reflection. The mind can't help but respond, even silently. And that inner response is more powerful than anything said aloud. It lingers. It festers. It grows. Ask not to be answered, but to be remembered. The best questions are the ones that echo in the soul, long after the room has gone quiet. Number 13. Speak what they fear to admit. There are truths we choke down. Shameful thoughts we dare not speak. But when someone else names them, softly, without judgment, it shatters something. A wall. A lie. A mask. Say what they're afraid to say. Say it like a whisper only the soul can hear. You don't actually want peace. You want control. Or, you're not sad. You're furious that no one noticed you. These are not insults. They are awakenings. When someone speaks the thing you've hidden from yourself, you follow them. Not out of love, but out of awe. Because they became the mirror you couldn't look into alone. Number 14. Make them teach you. If you want someone to trust you, ask them to explain. Not to test them, but to honor them. Ask, can you show me how you think about that? Let them lead. Let them educate. The moment they begin to teach, they begin to trust. Because we fall for our own words. We fall for the person who listens to them. And once they feel wise in your presence, they crave more of it. Not because you impress them, but because they impress themselves in front of you. Influence doesn't always come from speaking. Sometimes it blooms in reverent silence. Number 15. Blur the line between dream and memory. Speak in metaphors. Use images. Describe feelings like places they've been before. The trick is to make them wonder, did this really happen? Or am I imagining it now? Say things like, remember that night your heart screamed and nobody heard? They'll nod, even if it never happened. Because memory is soft clay. If you press gently, it reshapes. If you guide with emotion, it follows. Use dreams to decorate reality. Use reality to decorate dreams. And soon, they forget where one ends and the other begins. That's where you live now. In the in-between. In the almost true. Number 16, control with the nod. People want to belong. They want to be right. So when you slowly nod as they speak, their brain starts syncing to yours. Even if they're unsure, your rhythm becomes a guide. Nod while they talk. Nod as you pause. And when you begin to speak, they'll keep nodding without knowing why. Their body agrees before their mind does. It feels natural, but it's programming. Agreement, rhythm, mimicry. The nod is ancient, older than words. It says, we're in this together. And once their body nods long enough, their soul forgets how to say no. Influence begins with rhythm. Number 17, break the pattern. Humans are machines of habit. We cling to repetition like it's safety. But when you break the pattern, just once, it snaps the trance. Speak slower than usual. Pause longer than normal. Whisper where you used to shout. That small rupture demands attention. It startles the subconscious awake. And suddenly, everything you say feels important. Because it's different, unexpected, meaningful. A pattern interrupted becomes a signal. And the brain leans in to make sense of the disruption. Use this power gently. Disturb, but don't frighten. Influence thrives in subtle chaos. Just enough to awaken curiosity, not panic. Surprise is your doorway. Number 18, ask in threes. The first question is deflected. The second one is defensed. But the third? It cuts deeper. Repetition wears down resistance. Ask once, they lie. Ask twice, they hesitate. Ask 3 times, and the cracks appear. But never with pressure. Use softness. Change the words slightly. Let it feel like a circle, not a hammer. What did you feel? What stayed with you? What made it hard to let go? Each version pulls them closer. They won't even notice the spiral forming. They'll just fall in gently. Most people want to open. They just need rhythm, patience, and a guide who doesn't flinch when truth emerges. Number 19, say the unfinished thought. People often speak halfway. They trail off. They dodge their pain with fragments. The just, I don't know, becomes your entry. You finish it. Slowly. It's just that you always feel disposable. They freeze. Because yes, that's what they meant. But didn't dare say. You named the ghost. And once named, it loses its power. Or becomes yours. You've read their silence like a book. And now, they see you as someone who knows what's unspoken. That kind of intimacy bypasses logic. It creates loyalty, because everyone hides pieces. And the one who sees those pieces becomes unforgettable. You saw the sentence they feared. Number 20, plant the phantom memory. Memories are fragile. Influence isn't always about truth, it's about suggestion. Say things like, remember when you felt weightless? Or, it was after that stormy night, right? Even if they hesitate, their mind starts searching for it. And sometimes it invents it. The brain fills in gaps with emotion, with detail, with you. If done gently, they begin to believe it was always real. That feeling, that thought, that moment. You didn't lie. You offered a doorway. They walked through it. Reality reshapes itself in the dark. And when their memory becomes a garden you've planted, they return to it without question. Number 21. Slow the blink. The eyes speak secrets. When you hold soft, steady eye contact and barely blink, they begin to blink more. And faster. It's a subtle imbalance. You become the still lake. They become the trembling ripple. This rhythm shift sends a signal. You are the calm. They are the storm. And they trust the calm. Their subconscious reads your eyes like scripture. Steady, slow, silent. Don't stare. Just rest your gaze. Like you already know something they don't. Like you're already inside their mind. Because the person who blinks less often controls the conversation more. Stillness unnerves. And in stillness, minds begin to unravel. Number 22, repeat the ending. When someone finishes a sentence with a strong emotion, repeat the last few words slowly. Not to mock, but to reflect. So no one stayed, you whisper back. No one stayed. It feels sacred. It feels like confession. And suddenly, the silence between you becomes cathedral space. They'll fill it again. And again. You've created a loop. Their pain echoes through your voice and returns to them softened. Repetition doesn't dull meaning. It deepens it. And when done gently, it becomes hypnotic. People return to the echo. They chase the validation. And in chasing it, they give more. They always do. Number 23, touch without touching. Sometimes the right words feel like fingertips. Say something gentle that grazes the memory of pain. You weren't allowed to cry, were you? The air thickens. No contact needed. But they'll feel it. In the chest. In the skin. You touched a nerve, without moving. The right sentence can feel like a hand on the shoulder. Like a palm on the back. They'll remember it long after. Because invisible touches are harder to shake. The mind rewrites the moment with warmth. You become comfort. You become the gentle that no one else offered. And that kind of touch leaves permanent fingerprints. Number 24, redirect the spotlight. When someone feels exposed, shift the attention. Not away, but sideways. Ask a question about something near the pain. When did you first start feeling like that? Or, who taught you silence? It feels like a detour, but it's a deeper entrance. You're not avoiding, you're circling. And in circling, you let them breathe. They open slower. They bloom safer. People shut down when the spotlight blinds them. But a candle? A flicker? That they'll follow. Become the dim light that guides, not the beam that interrogates. When they feel seen without being hunted, they'll give you more than you ever asked for. Number 25, praise what's hidden. Most people only praise the obvious. Books, smarts, kindness. But the deepest hook lies in praising what no one else notices. The quiet courage. The way they hold back tears but stay in the room. The way they make everyone feel safer without a single word. Say, I see that. Say, that matters. And watch what happens. Their armor cracks, not from force, but from warmth. Because people walk through life invisible. Not their faces, but their essence. And when you point to that hidden flame and say, I see it burning, they'll follow you. Because you saw them, not the mask. Number 26, change the scenery. When someone is stuck, mentally, emotionally, change where the conversation happens. Go for a walk. Sit facing a window. Shift the surroundings and you shift the story. The brain associates space with emotion. New places unlock new language. A truth unspeakable in one room slips out easily in another. Movement breaks loops. Walking unlocks buried doors. They talk while looking ahead, not directly at you. That distance feels safer. Their guard drops. Words flow. They'll tell you things they didn't plan to. All because the walls changed. Influence lives in movement. Not just in thought, but in where thought takes root. Number 27, name the pattern. Most people live inside loops they cannot see. They repeat behaviors. Chase ghosts. Destroy what loves them. But if you softly name the pattern, without judgment, they freeze. You always push people away right before they get close. It's not an attack. It's a mirror. And mirrors are cruel but cleansing. The moment they see it, they can't unsee it. That awareness changes them. It plants discomfort. And from discomfort comes choice. You didn't fix them. You revealed the thread. Now they'll follow it. They'll unravel themselves for you. Not because you asked, but because you saw the script they didn't know they followed. Number 28, speak in soft commands. Not orders. Not demands. Just gentle cues wrapped in suggestion. Take a deep breath. Look at me when you say that. Feel how quiet this moment is. It doesn't sound like control. It sounds like care, but the subconscious hears it clearly. You're leading. You're directing the emotional pace. Soft commands bypass resistance. They feel like invitations. The body obeys before the mind questions. And once they follow one, they'll follow more. Whispered guidance becomes habit. Influence hides inside kindness. Not force, not push, but velvet hands pressing gently on the back of the mind, telling it where to go. Number 29. Share a ghost. Tell a small story. A quiet failure. A soft sorrow. Make it personal but unfinished. I used to wait by the window too. That's all. Let the silence breathe after. They'll lean in, or they won't. But it doesn't matter. You gave them a ghost. A presence. A permission. Vulnerability invites vulnerability. Not when it screams, but when it sighs. Most people want to open, but they need proof. Proof that pain can be held without breaking. When you speak your ghost gently, you say, "You're not the only haunted one." And suddenly, the room becomes a confessional with no walls. Number 30. Mismatch the emotion. When someone speaks in anger, respond with calm. When they tremble with shame, stay steady. This emotional mismatch rewires the exchange. It deactivates their pattern. They expect escalation. They brace for judgment. But you offer none. You become the opposite of their storm. And in that contrast, something shifts. The nervous system notices. The heart slows. You've interrupted their loop, not with words, but with energy. Most people mirror emotions. You break them. Gently. Intentionally. And when they feel your stillness in the face of their chaos, they'll soften. They'll trust. Because you felt like the first moment of peace in years. Number 31. Breathe for them. In moments of tension, become the breath they forget to take. Slow yours down. Let it be visible, audible. The body watches more than the mind listens. They'll match you without knowing why. Their chest will rise with yours. Their shoulders will drop. Anxiety will fade. You didn't speak wisdom. You didn't offer advice. You became the anchor. You showed the nervous system what safety looks like. And now, you're imprinted in their calm. Influence sometimes means becoming the body they can't control. Breathing for the storm until it passes. You breathe first, and they return to themselves through you. Number 32. Leave the sentence open. Let the last sentence you speak feel incomplete. Let the thought trail off. Let it feel like something is missing. That absence makes the mind uncomfortable. It leans forward. It fills the gap. You're not afraid of failure, you're afraid of, and then nothing. Let the silence say the rest. They'll finish it, or they'll carry it home. The brain doesn't like unfinished stories. It becomes obsessed with answers. And if you leave a soft space, they will fill it with truth, with reflection, with revelation. Let your words end like doors slightly ajar. The rest of the story is theirs. Number 33. Say, "Of course," instead of "I understand." When someone shares something vulnerable, don't say, "I understand." It distances. It flattens. Instead, whisper, "Of course." Just that. Of course you feel that. It doesn't explain. It doesn't fix. It affirms. It says their pain isn't strange. Their fear isn't foreign. Their longing isn't weak. Of course turns the wound into something sacred, something human. And in that moment, they no longer feel alone. They feel like they belong to you, to something larger. And that belonging is a spell. Use it gently. Say it like prayer. Of course. It's permission. It's empathy. It's the closest thing to a soul's embrace. Number 34. Blame the ghost. When someone can't admit a truth, give it a name outside themselves. Say, "That's just your fear talking." Or, "That sounds like the voice your father left behind." It softens the blow. It gives them distance. Now it's not them, it's the ghost. And ghosts are easier to face. Easier to forgive. You've separated them from their shame. You've made it safe to look. Because self-confrontation is brutal. But ghost hunting? That's survival. That's story. You gave them a new language for pain. And once pain is named, it can be moved. All healing begins with a single sentence. That wasn't you. Number 35. Use their name sparingly, powerfully. Don't say their name constantly. Save it. Let it appear only when you want their soul to sit up and listen. Whisper it when they're unraveling. Say it softly after silence. It's okay, Sarah. You're not broken, James. A name is sacred. When used too much, it becomes noise. But used like a spell, it becomes a lifeline. People hear their name and remember they exist. They remember they're real. And when you say it at just the right moment, they remember they matter. That someone sees them, not as a blur, but as a full, breathing being. Use it like gold. Number 36. Guide them with, you already know. Instead of instructing, say, you already know what you need. The brain hears that and starts searching inward. It skips resistance. It moves past pride. Now they're not being told, they're remembering. And remembering feels empowering. You gave them ownership. You gave them authorship. You planted the map in their own hands. You already know bypasses defensiveness. It doesn't question their ability. It calls it forth. Even if they didn't know, now they believe they do. Influence wrapped in affirmation becomes invisible. And invisible influence is the most enduring kind. Speak to their inner compass, not their outer resistance. Number 37. Say, not yet, instead of no. Refusal creates friction. Denial sparks rebellion. But not yet? That's a thread left hanging. It says, possibly, eventually, when things shift. It's soft. It holds power without dominance. When someone begs for validation, for action, for attention, and you reply, not yet, you remain in control without provoking defense. Their mind accepts the pause, not the wall. Influence isn't about having the loudest voice. It's about holding the space between hope and certainty. Not yet keeps the story alive. It creates tension, anticipation, and sometimes anticipation is the most powerful form of control. They wait, and in waiting, they listen. Number 38. Respond with questions, not reactions. When they lash out or withdraw, don't match their energy. Ask a quiet question. What made you say that? Or, what did you need just now? Questions redirect the fire inward. They cool the storm. They place the responsibility gently back into their hands. Most conflict escalates because people feel unseen. But a question says, I see you. I want to understand. And when understanding becomes the goal, not victory, they soften. Influence doesn't come from overpowering emotions. It comes from guiding them home. Each question is a doorway, and the right ones make even the angriest people walk themselves back. Number 39. Use, because you, to unlock belief. Tie every compliment to an identity. Not, you did well. But, you did well because you're the kind of person who always shows up. It lands deeper. The brain hears it and says, yes, that's who I am. You're not praising the action. You're reinforcing the story. And humans follow stories more than logic. If you say it softly, sincerely, it becomes belief. Because you always protect others. Because you never give up. You're sculpting the self-image beneath the surface. The more often you connect the action to the identity, the more they become who you say they are. Number 40. Say, it makes sense before any truth. Before delivering insight, especially painful truth, preface it with, it makes sense. As in, it makes sense you're scared. Or, it makes sense you feel unlovable. Validation is a key that opens the door to transformation. The brain stops bracing. The heart stops flinching. Now they're ready to hear the rest. Because if their feeling is valid, maybe the solution is reachable. You're not dismissing. You're aligning. That single phrase cradles the wound before revealing it. People don't resist truth. They resist judgment. Say, it makes sense like a bomb. Say it like a bridge. Then walk them across, gently. Number 41. Break eye contact last. Hold their gaze just a second longer than they expect. Then look away, slowly. It's not a challenge. It's a mark. The subconscious reads it as dominance, but gentle. It says you're sure. You're not rattled. You don't rush. And that moment, That 1 second delay lingers like a phantom hand on the skin. They'll remember it. They'll replay it. Because whoever breaks eye contact first loses power. And whoever holds it longer stays in their memory. Influence doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just looks silent. Sure. And the longer you look, the more they forget how to look away. Number 42. Ask them to teach you something they love. It could be music, a childhood game. Ask sincerely. Let them explain. Let them light up. The human soul craves moments of expertise, especially in things no one else asks about. When they teach, they feel seen. When you listen, you become safe. That exchange is glue. It's bonding disguised as curiosity. And once someone opens the part of themselves they're proud of, they trust the hands that held it. You didn't flatter. You didn't pretend. You asked. And that's rarer than praise. Let them bring you into their joy. They'll stay close to the one who made space for it. Number 43. Use the you always notice trick. Say, you always notice what others miss. Or, you're the kind of person who sees the undercurrents. You've now primed them to look deeper for you. They want to prove you right. So they search the room, the tone, the silence. And when they find something, they feel smart. Not just smart, special. Because you told them they were. And people live up to their labels, especially when whispered with wonder. Use this for influence, not manipulation. Because once someone believes they're the observer, they become one. And they'll keep returning to you, the one who revealed their hidden eyes. Number 44. Let the silence grow heavy, then break it with a truth. Most rush to fill silence. You won't. You'll let it stretch. Let it weigh. Let it hum. And just when it becomes too much, you speak. One sentence. One truth. And because it arrives after quiet, it lands deeper. It feels like a revelation. Like prophecy. The contrast gives it power. Say, you never really felt safe, did you? They'll shatter. Not because of the words, but because of the space that held them. Silence is a chamber. And when you drop a truth inside, it echoes forever. Don't fear the stillness. It's not the absence of power, it's where power waits. Number 45. Use, you don't need to answer, as a key. Ask the question. Then immediately soften it. Say, you don't need to answer. Their defenses lower. The pressure dissolves. But the question remains. It circles. It blooms. And often, they'll answer anyway, because now it feels like a gift, not a demand. People want to be known, but they don't want to be forced open. When you give them freedom, they choose the path you offered. Whisper the question. Step back. Let them approach it on their own terms. And when they do, it's more honest, more raw. Influence isn't prying. It's placing the key nearby and waiting for trembling hands to use it. Number 46. Point out the unspoken loyalty. Say, you've protected them longer than they ever protected you. That sentence hits somewhere deep. Because loyalty is noble, but heavy. Especially when it's one-sided. Most people carry silent bonds to those who hurt them. Naming that bond, without judgment, creates a rupture. It says, I see what you've done. And I see what it cost you. That recognition is rare. And because it's rare, it creates trust. You didn't tell them what to do. You showed them what they already knew. And sometimes, that's all it takes for a person to finally let go. Number 47. Turn pain into a pattern. Say, this keeps happening, doesn't it? Then pause. Let them search. Let them notice. When you pull their pain into a repeating thread, you give it shape. And when pain has shape, it can be studied. It can be moved. Most people drown in isolated storms. But if you show them a weather pattern, they begin to prepare. You gave context. You gave clarity. And in doing so, you gave control. Pain loses some of its sting when it stops being random. Influence isn't always comfort. Sometimes, it's showing someone that chaos has rules, and they can finally play by them. Number 48. Ask them to pretend it's about someone else. When someone resists clarity, shift the frame. Say, if your friend were in this situation, what would you tell them? It creates distance, detachment, And through that detachment, honesty flows. People protect their own wounds. But for others, they speak wisdom. Let them hear themselves. Let them taste their advice from a safe angle. And when they finish speaking, say nothing. Just wait. They'll blink. They'll sigh. And they'll realize they've just told themselves what they've been avoiding. Influence is not about directness. It's about redirection. Let the truth sneak in through the side door of empathy. Number 49. Tell them they're already changing. Say it before they believe it, before they act, before they move. Whisper, you've already started changing. The mind hears it and begins to align. People become what they're told they are, especially when spoken with certainty. It's not flattery. It's inception. It's planting a seed that insists it's already grown. You're already letting go. You're already stepping into power. Use already. It bypasses resistance. It skips disbelief. It lands as truth. The subconscious wants to match what it hears. So speak the future like it's memory. And watch them step into it, because you said it already happened. Number 50. Make them think it was their idea. Guide them slowly. Drop suggestions like breadcrumbs. Ask open questions that circle your goal. Let them connect the dots. Let them say it first. And when they do, smile. Say, exactly. The mind clings tighter to what it believes it discovered. Ownership deepens belief. People don't resist ideas, they resist foreign ones. So make your idea feel like home. Like it was always there, waiting. Influence isn't about taking credit. It's about planting thoughts in fertile soil, then stepping back. Let them water it. Let them claim it. And when the truth finally blooms, they'll swear it was theirs all along. Number 51. Replace why with what. Why feels like interrogation. It stirs guilt. It sparks defense. But what opens doors? What made you pull away? Sounds gentler than, why did you leave? What are you afraid might happen? Feels safer. The shift is subtle but powerful. What focuses on patterns? Why feels like blame? Most people don't resist truth, they resist shame. And by changing just one word, you turn confrontation into reflection. You lead without force. You invite without pressure. Influence isn't always in the answer. It's in the way you frame the question. Let your questions become lanterns, not spotlights. Let them lead inward, not away. Number 52. Validate without agreement. You don't need to agree to make someone feel heard. Say, I can see why you'd feel that way. Or, that makes total sense, given your experience. It's not surrender, it's strategy. Validation calms storms. Agreement isn't always the goal. Emotional clarity is. Once someone feels seen, they stop fighting to be seen. That's when the real conversation begins. They lower their guard. They breathe. And into that breath, you can place a new idea. Gently, thoughtfully, with care. Influence doesn't demand that you win. It only asks that you listen long enough to lead. Number 53. Name the hidden desire. People speak in circles around what they want. But if you gently name it, they go still. You just want to feel chosen. You want someone to fight for you. The words settle like dust after a storm. They don't deny it. They can't. Because finally, someone saw it. Most never do. And when you give a name to a need they never voiced aloud, you become unforgettable. You didn't offer a solution. You offered understanding. And understanding is a kind of intimacy more powerful than touch. Influence lives in the quiet act of seeing what others ignore. Number 54. Use even to remove fear. When doubt creeps in, speak to it softly. Say, even if it doesn't work, you'll still be okay. Or, even if they don't understand, you'll still be whole. Even if creates safety, it removes the cliff. Now the risk doesn't feel like death. It feels like movement, change. People don't fear failure. They fear the story failure might tell. Even if rewrites the ending, you've wrapped fear in a cushion. Now they'll take the step, not because they're brave, but because you made the fall gentle. That's influence, turning the fall into flight before they even leap. Number 55. Mirror their metaphor. If someone describes life as a war, speak in battle terms. If they say they're drowning, use ocean imagery. When you reflect their metaphor, you enter their world. You say, "I speak your language." That alone builds trust. But more than that, it allows you to gently shift the story. From war to retreat. From drowning to floating. You can't change their mind with logic, but you can change their narrative by becoming part of it first. Use their story to write a new ending. That's how transformation begins, not with contradiction, but with resonance. Number 56. Whisper the obvious. Sometimes, what's most true is what's most unsaid. People avoid it, dance around it, but if you say it quietly, it feels profound. You're tired of pretending. Or, you're holding everyone else together, but who's holding you? It's not a revelation, but it lands like one. Because you gave voice to the scream inside. Not with drama, with grace. The obvious feels holy when it's finally spoken. And the one who says it becomes sacred too. Influence isn't always about insight. Sometimes, it's about speaking what was always there, just waiting to be heard. Number 57. Reflect the emotion, not the logic. When someone vents, don't counter, don't fix. Just say, "That sounds infuriating." Or, "You must have felt so alone." Reflect the feeling, not the details. It skips debate. It hits the heart. People aren't looking for correction. They're looking for reflection. Once they feel mirrored, they soften. The tension breaks. Now they're open to reason, to suggestion, to movement. But only after emotion has been seen. Lead with empathy, not solution. And the solution often follows on its own. Influence begins not with brilliance, but with presence. With being the calm echo to their storm. Number 58. Use still to create duality. Say, "You're still showing up." Or, "You're still here even after all of it." That word, still, carries quiet power. It acknowledges the chaos, the pain, the fight, and highlights endurance. It says, the storm didn't win. It makes resilience visible. Most people don't realize how strong they've been until someone points it out. Still creates a before and after. It honors the journey. And the person who honors your survival earns your trust. Use that word like a candle in the dark. Still. One word. Endless weight. The best influence comes from those who help us see what we've survived. Number 59. Ask, "What are you avoiding?" Without asking it. Don't confront the wall. Walk around it. Ask, "What's been hard to look at lately?" Or, "What would happen if you stopped distracting yourself?" These aren't accusations. They're lanterns. They don't corner. They guide. People want to tell the truth, but they don't want it pulled from them. They want to stumble into it. Let them. Influence is subtle architecture. Ask gently. Pause often. And watch as the door opens not with a bang, but with a sigh. You didn't break in. You were invited. Because you asked the right question in the right way, at the right time. Number 60. Speak the aftermath, not the threat. Don't say, "If you keep doing this, you'll ruin everything." Say, "Imagine what it would feel like to be free of this pattern." People don't respond well to warnings. They respond to possibility. Paint the after. Describe the silence that would come. The ease. The peace. Make it real. Make it textured. Now they're not avoiding pain. They're chasing hope. Influence works best when it guides the gaze forward, not down. Don't scare them into movement. Inspire them into it. Speak not of doom, but of dawn. And watch them begin to walk toward the light, all on their own. Number 61. Invite them to rest. Not with orders. With suggestion. You can stop trying just for now. Or, what if you didn't have to carry that tonight? The world always asks for more. More strength. More answers. You offer less. You offer pause. And the mind listens. Because beneath every ambition is exhaustion. When someone feels safe enough to rest, they trust you. Deeply. Rest is a rare permission. Influence isn't always about fire. It's sometimes about silence. Stillness. The space between breath and burden. Invite it gently. Speak like lullaby. They'll release what they were clinging to just to hear you again. Number 62. Use the "it was never about" shift. Say, "It was never about being perfect. You just wanted to feel enough." That reframe slices through years of confusion. Because most behavior is a mask, the loop, a substitute for the deeper need. You name it, gently, and the mask starts to crack. They see what they've really been chasing, and why it always left them hollow. Influence is truth dressed in empathy. Don't accuse. Reveal. It was never about the job. It was never about winning. Show them the core beneath the performance. And once they see it, they can finally stop running. Number 63. Replace "I think" with "it seems." When offering reflection, say, "It seems like," not "I think." It creates distance. It feels less like opinion, more like observation. It seems like you're carrying more than you admit. That lands differently. It's gentler, softer, easier to accept. Influence isn't about pressure, it's about glide. Let your words land like leaves, not stones. Speak like someone noticing the weather, not judging the storm. It seems invites openness. It softens defenses. It builds bridges between what they feel and what they fear. And most importantly, it lets them walk across that bridge at their own pace. Number 64. Speak their longing, not their struggle. Don't describe their pain. Describe what they ache for. You just want someone to stay. Or, you want to wake up and feel like you're finally home. Pain can be overwhelming, but longing is human. It's soft, relatable, universal. Influence comes not from naming the wound, but from naming the wish beneath it. And when you speak their wish better than they can, they begin to believe you understand everything else too. The person who sees your pain is comforting, but the one who sees your hope, that person becomes unforgettable. Number 65. Use "I wonder" to plant seeds. You don't need to convince. Just wonder out loud. I wonder if this keeps happening because you haven't forgiven yourself yet. You didn't accuse. You didn't declare. You asked the air, and the mind answers. Even if it denies it, it considers it. I wonder if you're more afraid of peace than chaos. Seeds don't shout. They sit quiet, growing roots. Let your words become thoughts they revisit when no one's watching. Influence isn't volume, it's gravity. Say less. Say softly. Let their own silence complete the idea. And in time, they'll think it was always theirs. Number 66. Use "before you say no." When you sense hesitation, start with, "Before you say no, just hear this." It buys you a window. It pauses the automatic defense. People prepare to reject before they even listen. But this phrase invites curiosity. It asks for a breath. And in that breath, their mind reopens. Influence isn't about force, it's about timing. Speak like someone offering a gift, not a demand. "Before you say no" makes it feel like there's something worth hearing, worth staying for. Say it kindly, say it slowly, and what follows will be heard through a softer lens. Number 67. Offer the upgrade, not the escape. Don't tell them to run from pain. Show them what life could feel like instead. Imagine waking up without the heaviness. Or, what if peace didn't feel like punishment? People don't need to be pushed away from suffering. They need to be pulled toward beauty, toward possibility. Influence becomes magnetic when you paint what's possible in vivid, gentle strokes. Not demands, not corrections, visions, invitations. Make the upgrade feel real, tangible, and suddenly they'll want it. Not for you, but for themselves. Because you made it feel like a future already waiting for them to arrive. Number 68. Use the "you deserve" anchor. When someone doubts, say, "You deserve to be chosen." Or, "You deserve rest without guilt." The brain pauses. The heart listens. Because deep down, they've questioned that for years. "You deserve" becomes a rope they cling to. It's not flattery, it's grounding. Remind them. Repeat it. Let it land. Influence sometimes means giving someone a truth they forgot how to believe. Say it often. Say it in passing. Let it echo in their quietest moments. "You deserve" becomes their new inner voice. And once they start whispering it to themselves, the transformation begins without resistance. Number 69. Suggest the shift, not the solution. Instead of saying what to do, say, what if you shifted how you looked at it? It's not control, it's curiosity. It doesn't box them in, it opens a window. The mind resists solutions it didn't ask for, but it leans toward new angles. Don't say, do this. Say, look here. Influence means guiding attention, not pushing behavior. Let them arrive at new truths with dignity. You're not saving them. You're standing beside them with a flashlight, showing the crack in the wall where light slips in. Let that be enough. Number 70. Speak to the child in them. Every adult carries a child. Tired, confused, hoping someone will say, you did your best. Or, it wasn't your fault. Say it, softly, to the part of them that never heard it before. Watch their breath change. Watch their posture loosen. You're not talking to the mask. You're talking to the memory. Influence begins when you bypass identity and speak to the wound beneath it. And that wound is always young, always listening, always wondering if someone, somewhere, would finally say the words they needed when they were small. Say them now, and you'll never be forgotten. Number 71. Say, you're not crazy. When someone shares their confusion, fear, or chaos, don't fix, don't question. Just whisper, you're not crazy. It cuts through the noise, the doubt, the years of dismissal. Those 3 words land like medicine, because deep down they feared they were. Influence isn't found in complexity. It's found in comfort. Speak what they need to hear, not what sounds impressive. You're not crazy becomes a grounding spell. It tells their story they can trust their experience again. And trust becomes the bridge between pain and peace. Offer it sincerely, quietly. They'll never forget the person who reminded them they weren't broken. Number 72. Shift blame into protection. Say, you weren't wrong. You were protecting yourself. It transforms shame into strength. Most regret hides behind survival. They made hard choices, but not out of cruelty, out of fear, out of defense. Name that, and the shame starts to lift. Influence isn't about erasing what happened. It's about rewriting the meaning. You give them a new frame, not failure, but protection. Not weakness, but armor. Say it gently. Let the weight of guilt begin to melt. Because when people feel they were simply surviving, they stop hating the version of themselves who had to fight. Number 73. Describe their strength as softness. Don't say, you're tough. Say, you feel everything and still keep going. Strength doesn't always look like grit. Sometimes, it looks like tears that still show up. Say it that way. Frame their vulnerability as bravery. Because it is. The world praises armor. You praise the pulse beneath it. You keep showing love even when you've been hurt. That lands. That matters. Influence grows where people feel redefined. Not in grand gestures, but in whispered reintroductions to themselves. Let them see that their softness isn't a flaw. It's the proof of endurance. And now they'll carry it differently. Number 74. Ask, what would peace feel like? Not what it looks like. What it feels like. It forces the mind inward. Into sensation. Into memory. Into longing. People often chase peace without defining it. Your question gives it shape. Texture. Would it feel like breath? Like laughter? Like silence? Let them imagine it. Let them taste it. Once peace has a feeling, the brain begins to crave it. Influence is desire with direction. You're not selling a solution. You're awakening a hunger. And once they feel what peace could be, they start walking toward it, without even realizing they've already begun. Number 75. Say, that wasn't love. Say it when they're ready, when they've described control, or cruelty, or confusion. Say it gently. That wasn't love. That was fear wearing its skin. It's a rupture, a release, because many people accept harm if it comes dressed like affection. You name the costume. You break the spell. Influence is truth told softly, at just the right moment. You separate the poison from the promise. And now they can grieve what they never really had. Healing begins where clarity starts. Say it like a friend, like someone who knows what love is and refuses to let them settle for less again. Number 76. Frame failure as proof of growth. Don't ask what went wrong. Ask what it means they tried. You failed because you were brave enough to risk. That flips the story. Most people bury their failure in shame. You lift it out. You hold it with respect. Influence isn't erasing mistakes, it's honoring them. Let them see that falling down proves motion, that attempting is sacred. Say, you wouldn't have failed if you stayed small. Suddenly, the loss feels noble. Influence rewrites defeat, not as an end, but as evidence of courage, of learning, of movement, of a life that refuses to stay still. Number 77. Use "you always" to affirm identity. Not to criticize, to uplift. You always find a way. You always make space for others. People latch onto identity. Give them one worth holding. Not shallow praise, soulful reflection. Use "always" to make it real, lasting. They'll rise to meet it. Influence often lives in what we believe about ourselves. You're planting belief. Gently, lovingly. Whisper it often. Reinforce the patterns they forget they carry. And when the world makes them question who they are, your words return. So, steady, repeating like a heartbeat. You always, they'll repeat it in the dark. And believe it in the light. Number 78. Replace "I don't know" with "I'm still learning." When someone says, "I don't know," respond with, "You're still learning." It shifts the energy. From failure to journey. From lost to exploring. That one phrase reshapes identity. Still learning implies movement. Curiosity. It gives permission to not have arrived yet and still feel whole. Influence helps people reframe their timeline. From shame to story. Say it kindly. Say it like it's obvious. You're still learning. Suddenly, uncertainty feels okay, even powerful. And once someone accepts that they're in process, they stop needing to be perfect. They start showing up more fully, as themselves, as they are. Number 79. Use "maybe it's time" as a gentle push. Say, maybe it's time to stop apologizing for who you've become. Or, maybe it's time to believe you deserve better. It's not force. It's invitation. Maybe it's time, whispers the shift. It nudges gently. It feels less like command, more like curiosity. Influence lands better when it doesn't corner. This phrase opens a door instead of slamming one shut. It gives them agency while offering direction. Maybe it's time becomes a sunrise, not a siren. Use it to plant courage. Use it to soften change. People don't want to be pushed, they want to be nudged lovingly forward. Number 80. Say, "You're allowed." Sometimes, people need permission. Not because they don't have it, but because they've forgotten it was theirs. Say, "You're allowed to rest." You're allowed to want more. You're allowed to stop trying to fix everything. It lands like release, like exhale. Influence sometimes means handing back the key to a door they were already standing in front of. Say it without urgency. Say it like a truth that always existed. "You're allowed" becomes a mantra, a reawakening. And when the world tries to shrink them again, they'll remember your voice, softly giving them back their yes. Number 81. Let them interrupt themselves. When someone starts speaking, then hesitates, don't fill the space. Don't rush them forward. Let the silence stretch. Let their thoughts catch up. Often, what they say next is the truth they were afraid of. Influence doesn't force revelation, it waits for it. In that pause, they choose honesty. They choose clarity, because you gave them the space, the safety, the stillness. Most people interrupt because silence feels awkward. You treat silence like ceremony, and in that silence, they complete the thought that mattered most. Not because you asked, but because you waited. Number 82. Say, "It was too much, not you." When someone blames themselves for someone else's distance, offer this. It wasn't that you were too intense, it was too much for them to hold. That distinction heals. It lifts the weight of being too much. It reframes rejection as mismatch, not failure. Influence sometimes means gently untangling shame from story. Most people think they scared others away. You show them they simply offered depth to someone shallow. Say it softly, like truth, like balm. The person who removes the thorn others buried becomes unforgettable, especially when that thorn was named, "You were too much." Number 83, ask, when did you first learn that? When someone states a belief about love, worth, fear, ask, when did you first learn that? It redirects the lens. It moves the belief from absolute truth to acquired lesson. Suddenly, they see it as something learned, not something they are. That shift cracks open possibility. Now they can unlearn it. Influence doesn't mean proving people wrong. It means helping them remember they weren't born with this weight. They picked it up somewhere, and they can set it down. That question, asked gently, becomes the moment their story starts to loosen. Number 84. Frame growth as return. Say, you're not becoming someone else. You're returning to who you were before the world got to you. That lands differently. It removes pressure. Growth becomes reclamation, not reinvention. People fear change when it feels like loss. But if you say it's a return, it feels safe, familiar, deserved. Influence soothes the mind that's tired of evolving. It whispers, you're not building, you're remembering. Say it with calm. Say it like fact. And they'll start to walk differently. Not chasing some future self, but reclaiming a forgotten one. Number 85. Use without trying to praise. You make people feel safe without trying to. Or, you light up rooms without realizing it. Praise like that slips beneath the defenses. It's not performative. It's not earned. It's essence. And that's why it sticks. Influence deepens when you reflect qualities they never thought were visible. You show them the effect they have, not just the effort they give. That kind of recognition feels rare. Sacred. Most people only know their flaws. You give them their light. Not with flattery. With observation. With reverence. Tell them who they are when they're not trying to be anything at all. Number 86. Use of all the people, framing. Say, of all the people to handle this, it makes sense it was you. That framing creates meaning. It tells them their struggle wasn't random. It was calling someone specific, someone strong enough. People want their pain to matter. Influence gives it shape. It doesn't erase hardship, it wraps it in story. A story where they are chosen, capable, significant. Of all the people, makes them feel destined. And destiny quiets doubt. Use it rarely. But when you do, make it sacred. Because once someone believes their path chose them, they walk it with new weight. Number 87. Ask, what if it wasn't your job? When someone is carrying everything, responsibility, emotion, blame, ask, what if that was never your job? That simple question unravels the knot. It casts doubt on the load they've always accepted. Influence removes invisible contracts. Many people live with unspoken roles they were forced to inherit. Caretaker, peacemaker, apologizer. You question the script. Gently, with curiosity, not accusation. And when they realize it was never theirs, they finally exhale. Sometimes influence isn't adding, it's subtracting. Asking one question that gives them permission to set the burden down. Number 88. Tell them you're already healing. Say it before they notice. Before the evidence appears. Say, you're already healing. Look how you're talking about it now. That reframe accelerates the process. The brain searches for proof, finds it, and believes it. Healing doesn't need to be complete to be real. Most people wait for a finish line before they allow progress. You tell them it started quietly, and now it's blooming. Influence is the mirror that reflects growth before it feels visible. Let your words become that mirror. The one that shows them they're already further than they thought. Number 89. Replace broken with wounded. Don't say you're broken. Say you've been wounded. One implies finality, the other healing. People accept brokenness as identity. But wounds? Wounds close. Wounds mend. That one word changes the tone of everything. Influence lives in language. And the words you choose carve out the path they walk next. Speak gently. Say, You're not broken. You were just never bandaged. Suddenly, hope returns. They imagine stitching, cleaning, and they realize this isn't the end. It's the middle. A wound is still a body trying, still alive, still capable of becoming whole again. Number 90. Say, you didn't deserve that. Many people carry hurt like it was earned, like it was justice. Say it clearly, you didn't deserve that. It ruptures shame. It resets narrative. Those 4 words can undo years of silence. Influence isn't always about unlocking potential. It's sometimes about unchaining memory. Tell them what they never heard, what they needed, what would have changed everything. You didn't deserve that becomes the turning point. The first time they look at their past with compassion, not contempt. Speak it gently, mean it deeply, and they'll carry it like a seed, one that grows into freedom. Number 91. Ask, what did you need back then? When the past weighs heavy, shift the frame. Ask, what did you need back then? It creates space. It breaks the blame. The question doesn't dwell, it redeems. It says the pain had context, that they were once a child, a lover, a dreamer, just needing something small, something missing. Influence is compassion aimed backward. You're not reliving the memory, you're reparenting it. And when they finally see what they needed, they soften. Toward themselves, toward the moment. That's where healing begins, not in what happened, but in the recognition of what never did. Number 92. Replace fix with feel. When someone breaks down, don't ask how to fix it. Ask, what are you feeling right now? It redirects the impulse. From solution to sensation. From urgency to presence. Influence often lives in allowing, not adjusting. You give them permission to be, to sit inside the storm without rushing to rebuild. Emotions pass when seen, but when ignored, they harden. You make space for softness, for breath. You don't offer the ladder out. You lie beside them in the dark and say, we can rest here for a while. And somehow, that's what lifts them. Number 93. Say, you make sense to me. Say it when they've unraveled, when they're ashamed, when they doubt every word coming out. Whisper, you make sense to me. It's deeper than I understand. It's soul-level empathy. It reaches past logic and wraps around fear. Most people feel like a puzzle no one can solve. You become the one who doesn't need to. You simply sit with all the pieces and love them anyway. That kind of influence becomes a refuge, a place they return to when they can't return to themselves. Say it slowly, like it was always true, because maybe it always was. Number 94. Use, maybe you're just reframing. Say, maybe you're not too sensitive. Maybe you're just deeply attuned. Or, maybe you're not needy. Maybe you just value closeness. That kind of language reframes the wound as a gift. Influence heals by reshaping definition. You take what the world punished and make it sacred. Maybe you're just wired to feel things most people run from. That lands in the chest. That rewrites self-worth. You're not changing them. You're helping them recognize who they already are. And once they do, they carry themselves differently. Stronger, softer, with reverence for their own shape. Number 95. Tell them they're the first. Say, you're the first person who's ever said that to me. Or, no one's ever made me feel this seen. If it's true, say it. If it's small, still say it. People crave meaning, originality. But when you tell someone they've done something no one else has, it carves a place in them. They become the exception. And in that place, they stay loyal. Influence isn't always dominance. It's vulnerability, honored. Let them know they mattered. Specifically, quietly. And they'll remember it long after everything else fades. Number 96. Ask, where do you feel that in your body? When someone speaks pain, fear, or longing, ask, where do you feel that in your body? It brings them into presence, into sensation, into grounding. Most people live in stories. You bring them back into skin. And in doing so, you change the narrative. Emotions become physical, tangible, movable. Influence is embodied awareness. You're guiding them from abstract to real, from chaos to center. Ask gently. Hold the space. Let them listen to their own body as if it's telling the truth, because it is. Number 97. Say, "You're not behind." Say it when they compare, when they ache, when they count the years and feel nothing but lack. Whisper, "You're not behind." Say it again. Let it land. You're on your own clock. And clocks don't argue. The world rushes. You slow it. The world shames. You soften. Influence comes in disrupting the myth of timing. People don't need permission to begin. They need assurance they're not late. Speak it gently, as if it were always known. And they'll stop chasing someone else's finish line, just to finally walk their own. Number 98. Describe the invisible victory. Say, "You showed up even when you wanted to disappear." That's a win. You chose to stay soft when you could have turned to stone. That's a triumph. Most victories are quiet, unwitnessed. You witness them. You make them visible. Influence isn't about motivation, it's about reflection. You show them the bravery in their breath, the courage in choosing compassion. Call out the victories no one else names, and they'll start seeing themselves as someone worth rooting for. Every day they didn't give up was a battle won. Number 99. Replace "you should" with "what if you could." Don't say, "You should let go." Say, "What if you could let go?" It opens. It wonders. It lets the idea breathe. Should sounds like shame. Could sounds like choice. Influence lives in freedom, not force. Offer possibility, not pressure. Let them play with the idea instead of choke on it. They'll revisit your words in quiet moments. What if I could? It becomes a question that heals. That tempts change. Not because it demands, but because it invites. Number 100. Say nothing and stay. Sometimes, influence means silence. Sitting beside someone. Not to speak. Not to fix. Just to stay. To witness. To breathe together in stillness. When words fail, presence becomes the message. I'm here. You're not alone. Without speaking, you say it all. Most people flee discomfort. You stay. That choice echoes louder than any phrase. Influence doesn't always sound like power. Sometimes, it sounds like nothing. Just a heartbeat, a breath, a hand resting on a table, a soul refusing to leave. Be that, and you'll never be forgotten.